So, generally, like what will happen is the database will not work independently, right? If you just let us say if a client is having a database, so this
Okay.
particular database has to connect to some other system, isn't it? Nothing but from Java program or maybe C language program or C++ or any .NET program has to call your database program, isn't it?
Okay.
Because database will not work in a silo. It has to be part of some particular business, business system, isn't it?
Okay.
So if you have an anonymous block, the source program or maybe like nothing but like your Java application cannot call the anonymous block. You don't have that capability. If it is a stored program, yes, it can call. But if it is anonymous block, it cannot call.
Okay.
Okay. So the basic thing is anonymous block will not get stored in database. It's just a temporary program. So now what we do is like so you got clear idea of like what is declared, what is begin, what is end. Exception will take it later. That's a separate class. So
Okay.
now you got the difference between declare, begin as well as end for any doubts.
Yeah, it's clear.
So declare section we use for the purpose of declaring variables. Begin section
Yeah.
for the purpose of business logic, and end is nothing but ending. I mean to showcase the end of your program. Okay.
Yeah.
So now here the anonymous block is this is anonymous block. But what is this procedure and a function? What is procedure as well as function? That you have to understand. So procedure
Okay.
and function, they are called stored programs. Procedure as well as function, they are called stored programs. Okay, why? Because these particular programs will get saved in database. These particular programs will get saved in database. That is why they are called stored programs. Okay, so we'll start with the procedure first. Okay, then we'll get into function and then later package.
Okay.
So we just need to understand the syntax first. So nothing but it's also called subprogram or store program. Okay. And if you observe this particular, like in a PL SQL, there are two kinds of subprograms, right? One is function, and other one is procedure. So
Okay.
procedures that performs an action and function that computes a value. Generally, like when we get a requirement, we just need to understand whether we have to use procedure or a function. But the capabilities of function as well as procedure are same. Nothing but like if you can do some logic in the procedure, the same can be implemented in the function also. But like we will be following a standard approach. We use procedure for the purpose of performing the business logic, nothing but like validation or database insertion, all those things. And functions we use specially for the purpose of computing a value. Nothing but getting a salary, getting the average, or getting a form, getting appropriate formula. So function we mostly use for the formula purpose.
Okay.
And function can also be invoked in a select clause. In a select query, we can write a function. I mean, nothing but you can invoke a function. But procedure you cannot invoke in a select clause. That is one of the major differences between procedure as well as function. Remaining all
Okay.
capabilities are same. The major difference is a function can be invoked in a select clause, but a procedure cannot be invoked in a select clause.
Okay.
So the last class, did we use any functions?
No, we didn't use.
So
Yeah, we use like
we use
adding two
like
numbers, right?
sum of sum of the salary,
Yeah.
right? Count. Are those functions or not?
Yeah, functions.
They are functions, right? They are the standard
Yeah.
functions. They are standard functions which are provided by Oracle,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
that is why we are able to call them in a select clause. Okay. So now just see the syntax here. If you observe here, the syntax of anonymous block as well as the PL SQL program is same. Begin section, exception section, as well as end section. But in the declare section, you will not have declare keyword. Instead of that, you will have a header word. I mean, it's not header, but a kind of header for sub program. You will not have an explicit declaration keyword. You will not have any explicit declaration keywords. So begin, exception, as well as end. And if you see the syntax, create is a command, and or replace, which is not mandatory. Whenever you see anything as clear bracket is nothing but not mandatory. Create or replace, procedure is a keyword, procedure underscore name is any kind of your user defined procedure name, and followed by parameters, and followed by is, or you can use as, then followed by the PLSQL block. The PLSQL block is nothing but your begin section, end section, and exception stuff.
Okay.
So replace we use, like whether we have to use replace or not depends upon. Generally, what happens is, let us say you have created your program first time, and later you want to modify it. So if you want to modify again, you cannot use create because Create is nothing but if you create a program. If it is already there, it's not able to create again. So that is why we have to use
Okay.
replace if you want to replace the existing program.
Okay.
Okay. So you can just see the first if you observe the process here, the first thing is when you write a source code, the source code will be in a normal English language, isn't it? You'll save the file using SQL or PLS or PLP, SDK, SDKB, different extensions you can follow. The mostly used extension is SQL. Okay.
Okay.
The file extension doesn't matter much here. If you see the Java program or C language, file extension is very much important there. If your program file name is not .java, Java compiler will not work. But here it is not like that. If it is SQL or PLS, PKB, PLS, anything will work here. Okay.
Okay.
But we have to in a standard process, we have to follow appropriate syntax rules. So once you write a program and when you perform compilation, this is two-step process. Comparatively, earlier we have run our anonymous block, execution as well as compilation in a single step. But when you write a procedure or a function or a package, the compilation is different process and execution is different process. Two steps.
Okay.
When you perform the compile, the source code will be converted into P code, okay, procedural code. The source code will be compiled to P code, nothing but your object code in the C language. When you write a C language program, when you compile, it will convert the C language program to object code, and then you will execute it. The same way here, the source code which you write in .SQL file will get converted into P code, and when you perform execution, this P code will be executed.
Okay.
And as we said that like it is a stored program. When you compile a program, if the compilation is successful, where this program will get saved? That will get saved in the Oracle metadata tables.
Okay.
So did you find the what is the metadata table? There is some
Yeah.
metadata table. You got the
Yeah.
information? Yeah.
It's a list of all tables.
Yeah. So how many tables you found? What are those?
Actually, the user is like apps.
Hmm.
I found
How many tables you found? At least you found. How many tables you found? You got it.
I didn't count that, but
So do you remember any tables?
sorry.
Do you remember any tables in the
Yeah,
metadata table?
employee table.
Mhm. Employee table is not a
Default.
metadata table. So metadata tables, do you remember any of them?
No.
See, metadata table, what is the difference between metadata table and a transaction table? Remember or not?
No, I didn't remember.
See, metadata tables, first of all, understand again this concept clearly because it's very much important. Now, any client installs Oracle database or any database, this will get installed in the appropriate port, location, host, everything will be there. So,
Yeah.
in a database, what is the basic thing? This particular database will have a schema or a user, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any database generally will have a schema as well as user. So every user will have database objects. The database object can be a table, it can be a package, it can be a procedure, it can be a trigger, it can be a synonym, right? Sequence,
Okay.
etc. These are all database objects, isn't it?
Yeah.
So by default, whether you create your custom schema. So do you understand what I mean by custom schema or standard schema? Custom schema is nothing but explicitly created by the customer,
Okay.
explicitly created, which is not provided by default. That is called that is generally we call it as custom program, custom schema, something like that. Okay, which is
Okay.
not available by standard. That is why it is called custom schema. Okay. So any custom table, whenever they say standard table and custom table, you have to understand this difference. When they say
Okay.
standard table, it means that it is provided by Oracle. If they say it's a custom table, it means that it is developed by a developer or maybe a client or whoever it is.
Okay.
Okay. So coming to the difference of transaction table and metadata table. So what is metadata? We know what is data, we know what is information, and what is metadata. Theoretically, what is metadata?
Is the data which contains in
Data about
default
data.
in the
It's a data about data. That is called metadata, right?
okay.
Data about data. Now, in an Oracle database or any database, when you create any of the components, let us say you create a table or you create a view or create a synonym, but how does your database know what all you are creating? It has to maintain the repository, right? It has to maintain the
Okay.
repository. Now, example, let us say you created EMP table and you inserted all the data here. Now, EMP table, I call it as transaction table. EMP table, I call it as transaction table. But information about the EMP table, nothing but in the EMP table, how many columns are there? What is the data type of each column? What are the things which are mandatory? Who created it? When it was created? Who modified it? When it was modified? Who is having all the grants? These all the information will be available in the metadata table. So nothing
Okay.
but in our example, like we have all underscore objects, all underscore tables, all underscore tabs. So there are a lot number of metadata tables which Oracle maintains them. That is why these are called metadata tables. It's all is nothing but information about the database objects. In a simple understanding,
Okay.
metadata tables are nothing but it will have the information about your database objects.
Okay.
Okay, so I will not repeat again. So when I give assignment, it means that I will not verify. It is your wish. I will not verify it. It's not my problem. You have to clearly do that. If you don't get, you have to ask me.
Okay.
So you have to understand the importance here. Okay. So if you don't really get what is transaction metadata, you have to ask, right? It is very much important because it will add up, it will increase your understanding on the database concept. When they assign you any requirement, if you don't understand what is the standard table and custom table, you're gone. Simple.
Okay.
Because they talk in a, they generally talk in a business language, right? So you have to understand them because these things will not get in the books or anywhere. That is for sure.
Okay.
It is by experience you have to get it. Okay. So now,
Okay.
yeah, just see the simple example here. If you observe here, like what I have done, create or replace procedure followed by the procedure name and the parameter. So here we can pass the parameters here. So generally we, as I said to you that, like we have to follow some naming conventions because, when you write a program, your program name should have an appropriate name and also parameters also should have an appropriate name. So better always follow this particular concept. Whenever you write any dummy program, simple program, unnecessary program, whatever it is, better follow a particular naming convention for your program. So it becomes a habit for you down the line when you get it
Okay.
in the house. So it becomes a practice for you. So better always follow the standard naming convention. Nothing but here like the procedure name is hello world underscore pre-ROC procedure name. T underscore name is nothing but parameter name. T means parameter, underscore name is nothing but a variable name, and varchar which is a data type. So here I mentioned that so after is I declared some temporary variable b underscore temp number and just printing some name here. So this is a very simple program. Let's write some program now. Okay. So this is
Okay.
how we have to
Okay.
execute. This is the way we have to execute if you want to execute it. If you want to execute the procedure, this is the process you have to follow. EXEC followed by your procedure name. Okay. So first of all, I'll open the worksheet. Right click on the connection and click on open worksheet. I'll open this one. And now write a simple program now. Simple procedure to display a welcome message. So I'll just go with this approach, create or replace. Okay, XX. So why I'm giving XX? Because so whenever we create any custom program, we generally follow with the XXY because as per the Oracle standard, because if somebody want to find out whether this program is provided by Oracle or if it is a custom defined program, by just seeing the name you can easily understand. That is what we prefer to start with XX. Or maybe sometimes we may also follow some particular business rules. So in our training rules, what I mean as per this one, what I try to follow is I just go with XX underscore CUS, that is what a custom program underscore hello procedure. Okay, and I'll just
Okay.
take a parameter, single parameter, and the data type is varchar2. So here you should not mention the size of your varchar2. As per the procedure syntax, you should not mention the size. Is and followed by begin as well as end. So there is no declare special. So this is nothing but your declare section. This is your declare section.
Okay.
Okay, there is no explicit declare keyword.
Okay.
So create or replace procedure. Okay, and the keywords, that these particular Oracle keywords, they are not case sensitive. Data is always case sensitive, but the keywords are not case sensitive. The keywords can be uppercase, lowercase, everything will work. Okay. Now before compiling the program, I'll show you one more thing now. Okay. So as of now, there is no data in this particular all underscore source table. All underscore source is a metadata table which will have information about the procedure, function, and the package. Whenever you compare any
Okay.
package, this particular table will have the data. Now just observe here. I'll just compile now. So, and one more thing is every PLSQL program, it should have at least one single line of statement. At least one line it should have it. If you don't have any line in this one, it will not work. So if you don't want to write any
Okay.
code in this one, better always have null. Still it can compile. Now just compile. Let us assume that you don't want to write any code in the program, you just want to test the syntax. Then what you can do is just have a null statement inside it. And you can just compile. So it says compile. And just check it now. Can you see? The same code is available, right?
Yeah.
In the database table.
Yeah.
And always, search whenever you're searching for the metadata information, always you have to give an uppercase. What are the data you mentioned here? You should give an uppercase. Let us say now what I will do is let us change my procedure name with a smaller case. Assume this is my program name now. So now this is my program name, but you have to search with uppercase only. Observe here. If I search with uppercase only, I'll get it. If I search with the lowercase or other case, it will not work. Can you see? It is always storing in uppercase only. All the metadata information will always get stored in uppercase. Metadata. I'm
Okay.
talking about metadata. If you observe here, this particular code will be stored the way I have written. If you observe, can you see the procedure name? It is getting stored the
Yeah.
way I have written. XFCUs underscore, which is a small, is stored in the same way. Okay, that's the difference you have to
Okay.
observe. Now let's print some statement. Now compile. So compilation is nothing but this command, the first one, and it says compile. You cannot see the output now. You cannot see the output. You have to explicitly execute. This is different from the runner's block. To execute this one, what I have to do? Again, you will find different ways here. So there are different ways to do that. So what you can do, I'll just take my procedure name, okay, and so in another worksheet, what I'll do, I'll just type exec followed by some parameter value. Okay, I just pass a value like this. Now select this total keyword, select this total line, and execute. Got it?
Yeah.
So now you understand how to execute or not?
Can you please tell this execution once again, please?
Okay, see the process now. The first thing is write a program. Okay, write your program first, program, and save the file. Okay. So now what I will
Okay.
do, I have written my program and I'll always prefer to save it. So I'll just save it, Control S, and I'll save it on my desktop. Anywhere you can save it, and you can see the file extension here. So you have only PLS, PLP as well as SQL. So as of now, we'll just go with the SQL approach. Just save it .sql. Okay. Now I save my program. After that, what you have to do? Compile your program. Compile the program. Once it is compiled, once it is compiled, it will get uploaded into metadata table. Okay.
Okay.
So how to compile? Just the same keyboard. F5, F9, whatever it is. Everything will work. Control enter, F5, F9. You can try F5, F9, and control enter also will work. Okay. All these things will work.
Okay.
Got it? And
Yeah.
once it is compiled, what is the next process? You have to execute. To execute your program, you have to write keyboard like this: exec followed by your program name. In our case, what is the program name? This is the one. And followed by, if it is having any parameters, you have to pass it. If it is having any parameters, you have to pass it. Like this. Explicitly have to pass the values.
Okay.
Once you execute, then you will show the result based on the business logic what you have written.
Okay. Where we should write this EC?
It should be written in another worksheet. Now here if you observe in this particular worksheet, we generally call this as this worksheet. No, like it's called tabs. What are the tabs you are seeing? These called worksheets. So here I have written
Okay.
my program. Now how to open a worksheet? In the SQL developer here you just on the connection perform right click and click on open SQL worksheet. And
Okay.
okay, it will open a new worksheet here. So make sure that you have a single, you select the appropriate connection here. It has to be after same database connection which you are working on. So now in one
Okay.
worksheet I have written my program, I have compiled and everything is done. In another worksheet what I will do? In another worksheet I will just execute exec followed by like this. Okay. Now again F5. Can you see the output here?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Here?
Yeah. Every time you have to follow these steps, right?
Yeah, of course, right? Same thing. It's a common programming approach, isn't it?
Okay.
There is nothing special here. Even if you work in the C language or Java language, same thing, right? You have to write a program, save the file, compile it, run it. Same.
Okay.
Only thing is this could be an explicit one. EXE is an explicit one.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if you are working in the code, almost same, not much different. What you can do, let us say, create a replace. Here, let us see it in the status. Let's suppose it is begin. Okay? Same thing again. You can just click
Okay.
on this particular statement, F5, I think F5, F5, okay, it got compiled. Procedure created, right? F5 or F9 also
Yeah.
will work, control enter also will work. Some, okay, you have to select and execute, okay. Only F5 is working, okay. F5 is working here. And next, if you want to execute, what you can do? So I prefer to create a new worksheet. Right click here, click on new tab, SQL file, that's it. You open a new tab,
Okay. EX
you just take your program name and this time EXCC followed by this
EXEC.
one and F5. And you have to see the output in the decompose output here. Sample procedure.
Okay.
Okay. So either way it will work,
Okay.
whether SQL or SQL developer or Toad, whatever it is. Even in the SQL plus also you can work.
Okay.
SQL plus anyway, I'm sure SQL plus W. Okay. You can follow the same thing here. Okay. Then procedure.created, isn't it? EXCC followed by, but it's not showing output, right? So for this one, set server output on. Okay, now again you write this to the program. Can you see? Can you see the output now? Hello? Hello? So can you see this one, SQL plus window? SQL plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as of now, don't worry about the editors which you use. Better use only one as of now. Once you are familiar, you can try with all the other options. Initially, I prefer just
Okay.
to try to stick to only one thing, either code or SQL developer, whichever you wish. But try to stick to only one initially. Once after you are familiar, then you can try with all the other options. Don't worry about these particular things. These are normal things, right? Does not involve any programming. It just the commands change. The way you execute change, nothing more than that. Okay. So don't think much about those things.
Okay.
Okay. Now, like what we do is like here,
Hello?
yeah. So let's write few more programs now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's write few more programs. So now what I will do is like let's write a simple program to validate the grade of a student. Okay, these are very simple programs, but understand the process. I don't mind whatever the business logic you can write it. The only thing is also you have to understand the syntax and the process what is involved. Once you're familiar, then you can work on the very complex things also. Write a PLSQL program, PLSQL procedure to validate a rating for a student. Okay. Now what I will do is the input is marks. Input parameters are input parameter is marks. So as of now we don't have any output parameter. We don't want to consider any output parameter because this is a procedure. Generally it will not have any output parameter. Of course we can pass it, but I'll tell you later. So instead of output parameter, what I will do is I will display the output. I will just display output. So based on some particular business conditions. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just delete or replace. I prefer to save the file before writing the program. XXCS great. Great process. This is my program name. Create or replace procedure, and it is always preferable that the keywords of Oracle should be in uppercase. But whether it's lower or upper, it will still no change, but it is preferable. And we want to consider input as what is that? Grade, right? Which is the number data type. Is begin and end. Okay. And what is one to? So,
Hello?
yeah, I'm there.
In between, your voice is not, it's breaking.
Okay. So here, like this is syntax here. Now, what I'm doing is create or replace procedure name, followed by the variable name, then is keyword, then the variable declaration, then the begin as well as end block. So in the end, you can mention your procedure name like this. Okay. In the end, you can mention your procedure name like this. Now, what is the condition is
Okay.
here? Can you hear me, Kalyan?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So here, what is the condition I write is now if condition I write. So if you observe here, like you already aware of C language, right? The
Yeah.
only difference is logically same. Logical is same. The functionality is same again. But the only thing is the syntax is quite different here. The syntax is quite different that you have to follow. What I will do is if the grade is greater than or equal to 18, then what I will do is I'll just assign for the grade name, I will assign equal to A grade or A plus grade. Okay.
Okay.
So for the LCF, what you have to do is ELSIF. For the LCF, it is ELSIF. For the LCF condition, you have to use ELSIF. And
Okay.
one more condition, what I write is if the grade is greater than or equal to 70, okay, and less than 80, again, then I'll display grade as A. I'll consider grade as A. Okay, and then end it. So
Okay.
this is what we have to follow. The only thing is the syntax.
Okay.
Now once you have the grade, I'll just print the grade here. Students underscore output dot with underscore down. Final grade for student is G underscore grade. Yes, that's it. Now compile. It was compiled successfully. Then execute. So go to other worksheet and just I'll mention my program name here. Execute followed by 9. So I have to enable the default output, right? I have to enable the default output. So here, yeah. Now yeah. Execute this one. Got it? Final grade percent is A plus.
Okay.
Right? If I pass some other junk, let us say I pass 80, it is A plus again. And if it is 79, it should be A. Right? If it is
Okay.
79, it is A. Now if I pass some junk value, let us say I pass some junk value, what I have to do? It is still giving, it is still giving A plus. Why? Because there is a fault in our business condition. We are not checking it is less than 100, it is less than or equal to 100 or not. Right? You have to check that also.
Okay.
So these kind of things will come into consideration also. What I have to do? I just write and less than or equal to 100. And okay, else else what we do? We understood way not applicable. Else condition. Compile
Okay.
and run the program again. Not applicable. Right? So whenever we pass
Yeah.
in self value, it simply says not applicable. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So now here, like what we do is now we are trying to print the value as a message, right? We are trying to print the output as a message. We are not really passing any out variable, isn't it? We are not really passing
Okay.
the grade value to other program. Now let us say, assume that like from the C language or from Java language, I want to call this procedure. Assume that from C or Java language, I want to call this procedure. So they require output value, right? They require the output as a variable. They does not require the message, isn't it? If you write a DBMS
Okay.
output, how your Java program will understand? Because this DBMS output gets printed in your DBMS console, not in the Java console. The Java program requires
Okay.
the grade value. The Java program requires a grade name. Nothing but we want to send this particular grade name as a output variable to the calling program.
Okay.
So what I will do is I will not disturb this existing one. I will copy this one and I'll open another worksheet and I'll just change the name of the processor because I want to show other version of this one. What I will do is I'll just name it as underscore v2. I'll change it as version 2. Version 2. So here what I will want to do is the logic again is totally same. The only thing is I want to send the output to the calling program. So what I will write here is I'll just say p underscore grade name and understand here I have to mention explicitly I have to mention out here. Why? Because I am trying to pass this out variable to the calling program, isn't it?
Okay.
If you want to
Okay.
send some data to the calling program, you have to explicitly send this value. So did you try like in the Objective C, like you told you worked on Objective C, right? Like did you ever try to connect the database or
Database? No.
no, you never got a chance?
No.
Okay, okay. Fine, I'll show you. So now here, like, what I'm doing here is I'm declaring a variable called grade name and out. This is a mode. This is called parameter mode. Okay, parameter mode. I'm mentioning it as out. And here I did not mention any mode here. By default, if you don't mention, it becomes in. By default, if you don't mention any
Okay.
parameter mode, it becomes in. So we have three types of parameter modes. One is in, out, as well as in out.
Okay.
I'll save the program name. And here also you have to change it. Yeah, I changed it. Now just compile. So it got compiled. And one more thing is you have to assign the value, right? So you have to assign this value. At the end of the program, what I will do, I'll assign this value like this. Okay.
Okay.
Now, so now to execute this one again, like exec will not work here. If you try to use exec, it will not work here. Why? Because if your program is having out variables using exec command, it will not work. Understand?
Okay.
So what is the other
Okay.
way we have to follow? So this is quite different approach. So we have to again require anonymous block. We require anonymous block explicitly for this one. So what I want to do? Let us say my grade is 98 and what is output variable I have to declare that.
Yeah.
Now you got it.
Yeah, got it.
So here, whatever the variable which I mentioned here, this v underscore grade will have a value. Now just print the v underscore grade value. That's it. Okay. Right. Final grade in
Yeah.
anonymous block is A plus. So using anonymous block, you're able to call the program if it is having out parameters. If it is having only in parameters, you can call it directly. But if it is having out parameters, then you have to call explicitly using anonymous block. Because as we are working on a PL SQL, again going with Java, executing from there is of no use. You can simply try from here this way.
Okay.
Okay. So clear. You try to work. You just need to practice. That's the only way you can get more understanding. You have to practice, work with different samples. Then only you get it.
This I had a question like this out parameter is like a Java program we use out parameter, right?
Yeah.
But no, by using PL SQL, in what way we can use this one like out parameter?
See, one basic thing is, first of all, database has to be integrated. Database always has to be integrated with some other application, isn't it?
Okay.
So that application can be a Java program, or it can be a C program, it can be a C++ program, or a PHP, right? It can be any program. So now, when a Java program
Okay.
is calling your database build procedure, so why it generally calls to validate some business logic. And if it requires some output from your program, you have to pass the information from your DBSS to Java program. Isn't it?
Okay.
So then how can you pass the value from the DBMS to the Java program? So in a Java program, what we have a concept called JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. Using this, we can call any of your PL/SQL program. For that one, again, we have a concept called callable statement. Using callable statement, what I will do is, using callable statement, I will call the PL/SQL program, and I will clearly mention what are the in parameters and what are the out parameters. And if it is having any out parameters, I can get all the out parameters, all output parameters. I will try to retrieve from the PL/SQL program.
Okay.
Using callable statement API, I will call the PL/SQL procedure and send all the input parameters, execute the program, and then get all the out variables from the PL/SQL program, and then work on the Java logic again.
Okay.
So nothing but we just call the program and get the output, and we'll do the remaining business logic. Because database always has to
Okay.
connect to some other application, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because as a business user, do you like to work on the SQL developer and execute it? You're not like, right? You will have some other environment like maybe a browser or a pad or SAP, whatever it is. Isn't it?
Okay.
For the business user, you will not expose the database first of all. It does not need to bother about what is the database program, what is your program name, what is the input, what is the output. He will not bother about it. He just gives an output, gives the input, and he has to get the output. So that should be a generally user interface, right? That's generally mostly a browser-based application.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll send you some slides on the procedure. Just work on those things. Okay. So next time, you have to send me the programs. What are you write the programs? You send me 5 programs with a different logics. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. What are the things you can do? It is your wish. You can write on any logic. You can use any logic, but I just require the programs. You can write a simple program. Let us say electricity bill. It seems like very simple, but these are very much important for you. Let's say that I'll just give a number of units. I'll give the number of units as an input. Let us say I'll give the number of units as 100. Okay, and try to have a different base rate if the number of units is greater than something like this. Let us say if, 100, if the number of units is 100, the unit rate is 1 rupee, and if it is 200, unit rate is 2 rupee, and if it is 300, unit rate is 3 rupees, and if it is greater than that, just have the rate as 5 rupees. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. And other one is sales order view. Okay, sales order rather than sales order discount, I can sales order discount. I'll do that. I will give the input as that's my total sales order. Okay, let us say my sales order is this one, and based on the sales order value, what is the output I have to get is what is the discount value. I have to get the discount value.
Okay.
But how we calculate the discount values again depends upon the business logic. So it all depends upon the amount what you mentioned.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us say if your sales order value is 1,000 rupees, you want to give 10% discount. If it is 2,000, give 20% discount. Whatever it is, just consider some value. And finally, the output value.
Okay.
I'm saying about the output. You require the output to be sent, nothing but out variable. I require out here, out variable.
Okay.
So the first one you can just go with a simple display message, but the second one you have to go with the out variable. So calculate the value and get the output. And another one is, so you said you worked on the cursor, right? It's right.
Hmm.
Okay. Get the employee name for the provided employee number. Okay. If
Okay.
employee number is valid one, is then left one output and then left one. Okay.
Okay.
And the remaining two programs you design whatever you want. Okay. So I require 5 programs. Then only I continue.
Okay.
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 Even if it's stuck, even if it is not compiling, even if it is not executing, but still it right. In fact, whatever it is,
Sure.
don't worry about whether it is compiling, whether it is not giving result. I don't bother about it. Just like a program, whether it compiles or not, that's a different story. We'll construct it properly if you want. But I want a program.
Okay.
Okay, just
Okay.
at least write a business logic, whatever it is. Don't worry about the syntax, all those things. If you can try your best.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay then.